So we're back under the old Dodge hood again today. Welcome back to Bo's Garage. Well, tonight, so I got her running, got her driving, as y'all have seen in the previous videos. Well, now comes the fun part. After a car sits for a while, you're going to wind up having these problems pop up, and you're going to identify these problems. One problem I noticed immediately is that the brake pedal is very squishy, and my rear brakes are basically null and void. Well, I pulled the drums off, and sure enough, the wheel cylinders are leaking, so I'm going to have to replace those. The other part, excuse my sinuses, I was playing with a cat, and so now my sinuses are like, you're going to have a horrible time there, sir. So, with that being said, so as you see, this is our 318 here. As she's ran, the valve covers have started seeping. Also, this thing had a prominent front cover, well, timing cover leak, you know, stuff you'd expect from a 150,000 mile 80s Chrysler product. Now, I have not done an oil change on it yet. I run around, try to let it come around good. I'll probably wind up doing the oil change on it tonight, or tomorrow night, or Tuesday, not sure yet. I just kind of want to sort of thing. The oil still has some lubricity, even though it's kind of rough, but I'm definitely got an exhaust leak on this side. I've got both valve covers pouring, the timing cover leaks, and I also have a coolant leak. And coolant leak is out of this hose here. I'm not sure if it's dribbling at the water pump, but I do know this hose is leaking. I was watching it spray earlier. So I'm probably going to be replacing these hoses. Upper and lower rad hoses look to be in decent shape, but I'll probably wind up throwing some new one of those. That water pump does not look too terribly old, but if I go to doing that, then I'm going to go ahead and do timing chains and do the cover gaskets and all. So I'm not sure if I'm going to dive into that yet. I'm probably just going to wait for that to start weeping, then I'll dive into it. The spark plugs look relatively new, so they're probably changed before the truck was parked up. But there was a massive coating of oil underneath, so this thing's been leaking. It's, who knows, it might be 254,000 miles in this truck. But I mean, there's no taps, no rattles, nothing. It smokes a little bit on startup, but you know what? I'm not going to fuss. So that's something you have to think about when you start diving into these old cars, especially if they've been sitting. When they sit, if it wasn't leaking before, it's going to start leaking. Especially once those gaskets heat up after they've dried out for X amount of years. Obviously, we've got a new carburetor. I've got to get a new air cleaner box. That one is pretty crap. Well, mainly just a lid. So, might try to scour and shed it the next time I go to a salvage yard. The ignition module's already been replaced. I mean, she's pretty good for the most part, but the rubber lines on both front axles have been replaced. Well, both sides of the front axle. Sorry. So, and it's got new looking plug wires. And like I said, she's running like a champ, so there's really no sense to diving into these just yet. Eventually I might, but as for right now, we're just going to leave it be. So she's running on all 8 and she's running smooth. The AC is freaking wonderful in this thing. But that right there gives a little bit of cause for concern. But I really don't want to do brake lines. Really don't want to. Since none of them, I mean, that's about the worst they look right here. I'm just kind of going to pretend, in the words of Derek Barry from Vice Grip Garage, we're just going to pretend we didn't see that. That shit's probably going to go, because that's just terrible. But definitely leaking coolant, something fierce. It was probably about a quart down after my last drive. It got a little hot and sputtered out. Granted, I'm not sure if it was just overpressurization because I didn't have the return set up, or just got too hot. I'm not sure. I know I'm definitely going to dive into getting a new thermostat. They're cheap enough, so might as well throw one in it. I'll probably run a alternative. I know these are usually like $195 or something like that. I'm probably going to take and throw like a $190 or something like that, or a $180, $160, whatever they got, just because it gets really hot down here in the south in the summer. And granted, this one still has the shrouding and all that, but this radiator is, I don't know how old, so probably been replaced at some point by the look of it. But until I upgrade this thing's cooling system, I'm definitely going to do that. I don't have to worry about emissions or anything of that crap here because this is Mississippi. We have freedom here. The power steering pump works fine. The power steering works smooth. The fluid is horrendously black. It's probably never been serviced in this thing's entire life, so probably going to bleed some out, filter some new stuff in slowly. Just do that because I'm pretty sure if I shock the system with just fresh fluid, I'll probably wind up having leaks or failures. Nobody wants to deal with these rusty-ass lines. And sorry for me being so short of breath sounding on here. Like I said, I'm just dealing with this allergies. But all in all, she's a winter chicken dinner. Speaking of oil, like I said, I will be doing an oil change on it probably tomorrow night. I just don't really feel like fiddle farting with it since I've already got a bath. I don't feel like getting yelled at by the old lady, so. Now, oil is important on these old engines. Now, because I don't have like a Valvoline VR1 is a really good option. Also, Castrol has a classic, which these older engines need zinc. They have what's called a flat tappet camshaft, and they need zinc. Modern oil doesn't have zinc like it used to. Now, a cheap, quick option is diesel oil. I know Derek Berry, Vice Grip Garage, hate to name drop guys, but, the man's pretty cool and pretty brilliant in what he puts out. So, I give credit where credit's due. He usually just buys like a Rotella and uses diesel oil. The better thing you can do, especially if you've got like an engine you've already resealed and it's new or refreshed, and you're still wearing a flat tappet, is like Valvoline VR1. Since this thing's engine is leaking like a sieve, which I knew it was going to after sitting so long. Now I've got Napa 10W30 conventional oil, which is just Valvoline. This is cheap as crap. I pay like $3.50 a quart for this. Now, granted, I do go with good filters. Napa, always. Or Wix, depending on which parts house I'm going to at that time. But to offset that, since I know that Valvoline doesn't have it, zinc. I know Walmart recently has it on sale. So I grabbed a good bit, but a bottle of this with your oil change, give you all the zinc that motor's going to need, and it's going to make it happy. Some people argue oil is oil, but the proof's in the pudding. I would rather not have a wiped out cam on this truck. It's already old. It's already tired. Just play it smart. Play it safe. Throw some Rotella in there if you don't really have any other options. But, if you just do conventional motor oil and throw some of that zinc in there. Like I said, that truck leaks. It's got valve cover leaks and all. So until I go in to do those, cheap oil, which, Valvoline is good quality, but this is cheap. Another good cheap one is like the Walmart SuperTech brand. I know a lot of people that run that shit normal, and it does perfectly fine. Just make sure you get the zinc additive, especially in engines older than that. These newer LA V8s, they still need it, but older engines, most definitely get it, especially your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Get that zinc. Now, will I upgrade the cams and stuff eventually? Probably not. If I do anything to that truck's driveline, that 318 is going to come out and I'm going to put a 440 in it. But as for right now, that 318 is just going to get good oil. And I might dress the motor up a little bit when I do valve covers. I might get some nice little chrome Mopar ones and get a, old school, the open air filter intake, whatever you want to call it. Might do one of those. Edelbrocks, whatever you want to call them. But that's just what I'm doing. The 318, I'm not going to try to squeeze any more horsepower out of it. Honest to God, it does plenty for just putting around I want to do with that truck. But whatever you got out there, fix it up. Fix it how you want it. Cruise. Have a good time. I'm probably going to want to be yanking those rims off and throwing some American Racing rims on there, like Krager or something like that. Probably like a 20. I think those look really good. But that's just me. Whatever you got, fix it up, drive it, enjoy it. Thank you for watching.